In the world of mixed martial arts, you want to train with the best possible training partners that you can get. That means training with other people in the UFC from other weight classes, generally above your weight division, because they're going to push you the hardest. If you're in the gym and you're the top dog, if you're the big fish in a small pond, you're going to get exposed because you're going to start learning bad habits. You're not getting pushed on a daily basis. So that is why you often hear about UFC fighters, MMA fighters, or even boxers. Any fighters in general should be looking for the best possible training partners that they can find, because they want to be getting tapped out in the gym. They want to be getting dominated. They want to be getting pushed to the limits, because that forces them to get better. Now, sometimes when that happens, people's egos get a little bit bruised, and that is what's happened right now. Well, listen, the reality is you shouldn't tap and tell. If you submit somebody, you shouldn't talk about it publicly, because it's just training. And that is exactly what one Khamzat Chimaev bores. That is what he's been doing. He's been talking about Jiri Prochazka, of course, the light heavyweight champion, the man that embodies the samurai spirit, a man that I'm a huge fan of, right? But Khamzat Chimaev said that they were training with one another a long, long time ago, and he made easy work of him. So let's have a look. Here is the story. He said, when we were fighting at Ryzen and in Brave, Jiri Prochazka and I, we trained together in the gym. We sparred hard sparring, and I won many rounds. I submit him many times. I beat him many times. He become a champ. Now, I don't know. Maybe, the fighters in his division aren't too good. So obviously, he's talking a bit of smack. And as we know, Chimaev, he's calling out everybody. He wants to fight everyone. He wants to be the champion of every single weight division, calling out Alex Pereira, who of course is back in the octagon next week. But still, Jiri Prochazka responded with, man, which person needs to talk about this again? This information is 4 years old. Gym information, inside information, man. Next time we will meet in the cage and I will show you my true power. In fact, why am I saying this? Jiri, speak for yourself.
Man, which person needs to speak again and again about these 4 years old information, gym inside information? Man, when we will meet next time in a cage, I will show you my true power. I will not take it lightly more. Don't speak about others too much. Love yourself more.
So there we go. So as we see there, Jiri Prochazka is kind of annoyed, kind of upset, and he should be, really, because it's kind of disrespectful when a training partner comes and trains with you, and especially if it's a long time ago and you become champion of the world and they claim to have tapped you out many times. Brother, I tap out this guy, he's easy work. It's a little bit insulting. Of course it is. It's damn right disrespectful. I can't say anything because I've done it myself. Okay, that is what started the whole rivalry with myself and Luke Rockhold. And that's why I know that doing this is probably a bad idea. Recently, I partnered with a company called Legacy Precious Metals. Now, I know a lot of people are going through tough times right now, but if you are fortunate enough to where you have a few dollars left over every month to think about investing, then maybe investing in gold and silver through Legacy Precious Metals might be for you. Now, the stock market, if you follow that stuff, it's all over the place. In fact, it's plummeting right now. But precious metals, they've always held their value or even increased. So, of course, that's something that we're all interested in. Does it have to be a lot of money? It can just be a little bit, because it all adds up over time. Now, if you click the link, there is a guide there. It'll tell you all about investing in gold and silver, or you can give them a call and they will answer all of your questions at 866-933-0317. Quick story for you. When I was competing, Jason Perillo knew Luke Rockhold. Of course, now he's training Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold's going to be back in action soon, going up against Mike Perry in bare knuckle. And by the way, I hear he's getting paid a tremendous amount of money. So all the best to Luke Rockhold on that. Congratulations. But the story goes that, we sparred with each other, and I got the better of him. I did. And I wasn't really talking about it. I wasn't tapping and telling. I wasn't training and explaining, or whatever you want to call it. Just made that up on the spot. Tapping and telling is what they call it. I was in New York. I was on a TV show to do with MMA. Forget what it was called. They asked me, they said, hey, we saw recently that you were sparring with Luke Rockhold. Do you mind telling us how that sparring session went? So I said, listen, you shouldn't talk about training, but let's put it like this. I'm now the unofficial Strikeforce champion of the world, because Luke was the Strikeforce champ, and it was a funny line. It got a laugh and it made everyone chuckle, and that was that. And it was a joke, right? But it was a tasteless joke. And obviously it was at the expense of Luke Rockhold. And Luke Rockhold didn't take kindly to it. And he started talking trash. I started talking trash. We went back and forth. And there you go. Bish, bash, bosh. He subs me. I knock him out. I become champion of the world. And now we're all friends. It's all done and dusted. It's all water under the bridge. But I did kind of start that, even if it was a joke or not. And that's what Chimaev's done here. And I'll be honest, that's a really good thing for Chimaev to do, because he wants to fight at 205. He wants to fight at 185. A story came out recently. He spoke to Sean Shelby and said, I want to fight at 205. I want to fight, 185. I want to fight Alex Pereira. I want to fight him straight away for the belt. The UFC considered it and then ultimately said no. And now he's going at the 205-pound champ. Let's be honest, Boris is a big guy. Missed weight dramatically last time out. Came in at 179 something. Making 205, well, he probably walks around at 215, something like that. So him and Jiri Prochazka, he's essentially hyping up a fight there. And so is Jiri Prochazka. Now, Jiri said, I will show you true power. What he means by that is, look, listen, we were sparring. I wasn't actually going full bore. Full bores. I wasn't going full bore, because if you are going full bore, not bores, in the gym, then you're kind of an asshole. You're taking advantage. You're going to hurt somebody. You're going to do damage. And that's not what you're trying to do in the training room. You're trying to help each other get better. You're trying to push each other to the limit, but the limit without breaking jaws, noses, faces, cuts, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Chimaev claims to have submitted him many times. And yeah, I'm sure he did. But let's also remember that was 4 years ago. A lot changes in 4 years. And the reality is, listen, I love Khamzat Chimaev. I love what he brings to the table. I love the excitement that he brings. And I love the bad guy approach. And he's doing a fantastic job right now of hyping up a fight with every champion in the UFC that's his weight class or higher. You know what I mean? They all want a piece of him. Pereira, Leon Edwards, possibly. He's accepted a couple of fights with him in the past. I'm sure he would take one if it was offered. But the reality is this. Here's the actual situation. Whatever goes down in a gym doesn't really matter. Of course, you can get a good gauge on somebody. You can see how they're progressing. You can look at someone and see the development of their skills. And certainly when they spar with people, yeah, okay, it's normally a pretty good gauge. But what happens in the gym, training, compared to what happens on fight night are two vastly different things. Think about this. Someone shows, let's just say, Chimaev and Jiri. And I don't know this, but let's just say hypothetically, Chimaev's getting ready for a fight. Jiri hasn't been training in a while. Maybe he's like, as Luke Rockhold said, he was hungover. Maybe he was. Maybe drank a little wine the night before. That's what he said. Maybe Jiri was out partying. Maybe he was at a samurai convention or something like that. Who goddamn knows, right? And he wasn't trying. He didn't think that he'd be having to defend his actions that day in that gym 4 years later. So he's just having a friendly rollerbound, a friendly little spar. Do you know what I mean? What happens in the gym and what happens when everything's on the line, when the pressure is on, when the title is on the line, fame, pride, money, they're two completely different things. And one of the best examples that I've got of somebody that wouldn't perform too well in the gym, but on the day when it came down to it to fight, and he was an absolute monster, is Quinton Rampage Jackson. Quinton Jackson, star from Pride FC. Some of the memories that we have from those fights were just unbelievable. Remembering picking up Ricardo Arona and slamming him into next week. Some beautiful knockouts, some amazing fights. Of course, he knocked out Chuck Liddell and became the light heavyweight champion of the world. And we spent a few years together as training partners. Very, very funny guy. Incredible fighter, but not the best person in the gym, right? Because he hates training. And some people hate training. He never liked it. I think right now he's getting a little better. But in the gym, he wouldn't perform very well because that isn't when it mattered. You know what I mean? Performing on a cold, wet, rainy Tuesday evening in England, right, doesn't get you anything. Yeah, you want to push yourself every training session, and some people are like that, and some people just hate the process but love to fight when the money's on the line. And Rampage sometimes in the gym wasn't doing very well, was maybe getting dominated by people that were subpar to him. But when it mattered, that is when the Rampage came out and he started howling, you better be bloody careful. The man had knockout power, tremendous takedown defense, and talk about hard to submit. Okay, so just because you do well against someone in the gym doesn't mean it's going to go down like that in the fight for real. And hey, Look at my fight with Rockhold. Classic example as well. First time out, he got me in a guillotine choke. All right, granted, I was blind in one eye and blood was bleeding into my only one eye that I could see out of, so I couldn't see a goddamn thing. No excuses. That's reality, but it does sound like an excuse. And then I got him the next time. But that just goes to show whatever happens in the gym, realistically, should stay in the gym. Unless you've got an ego, unless you've got a big mouth, or unless you're trying to hyper fight with the light heavyweight champion of the world, which is what it looks like Chimaev is doing. And it looks like it's worked because Jiri Prochazka wants to show him true power. But of course, when Jiri comes back, he's going to take on Jamal Hill because Jamal's the champ. Jamal's the true champ right now, and I know the whole blooming video I've been calling Jiri Prochazka the champ. My bad, my apologies, and my apologies to Jamal Hill, Mr. Sweet Dreams. Absolutely, rightly so, the champion. It's just that in my mind, you know, Jiri Prochazka, he was the champ and I forgot. He got injured and stepped away. But still, that's another one. Apologies, Jamal, if you see this one. I'm an idiot. There, nothing we don't already know. Anyway, subscribe, ring the bell. Chimaev versus Jiri Prochazka. How do we feel about that? Chimaev versus the champ Jamal Hill. My word, I'm an idiot. Anyway, more videos coming your way this week. Subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't done so. See you soon.